strength. I'm like, no, they're not, because the killer strength. And also, they're like, oh, we have a killer tier list on the Fiend forums. They count by kills, not by pipping, not by map design, not by anything. There's so many core mechanics that you have to take into consideration with this game before you can rank a killer. Why Nurse beats them all, and why Nurse was considered the best killer up until now when Nurse got nerfed to the ground. But you wonder until, like, Nurse is still hard to, like, still one of the top tier killers in my opinion, if you play her correctly and the map is good for her. But considering that right now Gen Rushing is susceptible because Rune got nerfed, and since she doesn't have map mobility anymore, she literally is like Deathslinger and Executioner, where she's just really good in the chase and really strong in it. But with her map mobility kind of reduced, they kind of just made her like very susceptible to people spreading out, which is a lot of weakness to a lot of killers other than Hillbilly right now. Why he's also a lot played right now, because map mobility is key. And so you see why. Like, but the thing is, map mobility is key in killers, and Billy is the king of it. So just like Oni. Oni is more OP than Billy. Technically speaking, Oni has a higher kill rate than Billy does, because Oni literally 4Ks every game. He's just not played as much as Billy is, because Billy is just more simpler, and Billy is, in my opinion, a lot more fun. But Oni, when you play Oni correctly, is actually quite stronger. Because, like, they say Oni is complete, like, Leatherface and Billy aren't the same, but they are. Because if you nerf his chainsaw, then his insta-down and mount mobility is reduced, which means you basically make him Leatherface tier, and that's not gonna fly. He's going to get nerfed. He's gonna be, like, completely destroyed when he's already kind of suffering. I'm not saying Billy is. Billy is kind of in a good spot right now, but that's just because add-ons. If add-ons didn't exist, Billy would be in a tough spot. Because chainsaw charge time is too long, so good survivors know how to counter the charge time. Because they know how long the charge time is, and it's decent length. Like, it's hard to, like, his chainsaw is hard to use, and any people on their tier list will tell you Billy's big weakness is his chainsaw is hard to use, just like Leatherface. A lot of situations his chainsaw can be pointless. That's what the difference between a good Billy and a bad Billy, and bad killers and good killers, is those good killers know how to push survivors away from those pallets and windows. And sometimes survivors make stupid mistakes and they run into the fucking open and they get killed. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the survivor making a mistake. Or maybe that's just the map design. Sometimes that's map design. Sometimes it's just giant dead zone so Billy gets a free kill for no reason. And that's totally okay. That happens. It happens from time to time, and there's nothing you can do about it. The thing is just to move on and maybe fix the core problems. Add-ons is a big problem. In my opinion, add-ons are too relatable to killers, so add-ons are so strong. Like, the super strong add-ons are so overused because they're so strong. So nerf the add-ons down, so add-ons don't do that much of a change. Trapper is the only killer I see add-ons are balanced with, next to Hag. The other killers, every other killer in the game, other than Bubba maybe, but even then, if Bubba got buffed, then he would probably need nerf too, with his add-ons, is they affect the killers way too much. So, what I would do is, I'll name some changes for every killer. Wraith, I think, is fine. Add-ons are fine. Trapper, add-ons are fine. Billy, nerf every speed and, not speed, so hit every Billy's, speed add-ons, the add-ons that make you rev faster. So the add-ons that reduce rev time. And add-ons that make your cooldown, nerf them down to 6 and 12%. So slightly is 6% and 12% is moderately. That way, the add-ons aren't so significant when you run them. Maybe even nerf the add-ons down to like 6 and 8%. Like, just add like an extra 2% to it. No, nerf it that way. Yeah, do 6 and 8. Or moderately just increase it to, no, 10. I would say 10. I think 10 would be a perfect amount by 4%. So it's 6 and 10%. to until the 12 and 18 that is right now. Nerf them down a bit, make them not as like they still do something, but they're not super impactful. Because honestly, tuning guide is gives you a moderately, and you know how impactful that is. The moderately, it's insane how impactful it is. It shouldn't change that much, and it would weaken the power of Hillbilly's chainsaw rev times just by a little bit, and it will make those add-ons less used. And I would nerf the cooldowns the same way. Slightly increase 6% reduced cooldown and 10% reduced cooldown for, and then 15% for the Thompson mix. That way they're all nerfed. And then those are the main add-ons that make Billy strong. Is those add-ons in particular. That way people can't say he doesn't have a cooldown anymore, because those add-ons wouldn't even be as strong as the common one is. The common one gives you like 12, 15%. Like, basically, they considerably would give you the tier 1 of vegetable oil, which isn't that high anyway. So, to me, that's fine. That would nerf all the add-ons and make Billy a less more potent with his add-ons, and make him less strong with his add-ons, but still make him viable. Basically, I'm nerfing him so that if you want to run add-ons to play tryhard, it's not as strong as it is. Because Billy's really OP with good add-ons. But Billy is balanced, in my opinion, if you don't run add-ons. Or, like, his add-ons are very small. So if his add-ons aren't as strong and they're not as influent to his main power, then Billy kind of gets nerfed in a way where even if you play tryhard with good add-ons, they're not going to make much of a difference. Now, but I would keep the rev add-ons the same, so even if you want to run Tuning Guide and Doom Engravings, it's not going to be the same. Like, you're basically still going to have a rev penalty, but not as high as it would normally. So, like, basically the extra speed still, like, give you a downside to it. But the add-ons don't completely negate it, but it negates some of the effect. That is fine. I think that's so balanced. Because the moderately whatever that does 10% then by my like numbers and shit, that would reduce it 2%. So it would be 2% longer, but you would have the speed aspect and the cooldown and everything else, tuning guide. So to me, it's just a small nerf to that combo, but it makes it rebalances it. So I think that would be a perfectly designed and healthy way of making Billy get downgraded a bit, but his power is still there. He's still threatening. That's what I'm trying to do, is keep him threatening and still a viable killer, but only to the most experienced killers, instead of making him super good to any killer with just who runs add-ons, right? So, like, I'm kind of nerfing him in a way where he's harder to play, and he's more of, if you have the mechanical skill, you're still going to do well. But if the killers don't know the mechanical, then he's going to be way harder. So, I'm kind of nerfing him so that he can't play full tryhard with the add-ons like good Billies usually do. So, that's just me. And I would fix map designs. In my opinion, map designs are a big issue with Hillbilly right now. Some maps are just giant dead zones, so Billy completely dominates on them. And other maps like Springwood and Treatment Theater and the Hawkins, Billy kind of suffers. Well, Hawkins not so much, but Treatment Theater is a big one, because Treatment Theater is terrible for Hillbilly, and so is Springwood. Springwood has too many pods and window locations that his chainsaw can be kind of useless, and curving, like advanced tactics, are hard to pull off unless you run super good add-ons. But that's the problem. If you don't run super good add-ons, you're not getting them that easily, unless the survivor makes a huge mistake, which is something is possible, but it's harder. And I think that's the difference between that map. So, like, I think that's balanced, in my opinion. But that's just my way of nerfing Billy, but keeping him still powerful as he is. Like, if you run default Billy and you do well, that's great. He won't change much. He just won't, but his add-on, when you run add-ons, it's not as significant and not as powerful. So add-ons aren't heavily influencing him. That way, Billy gets toned down a bit, but still keeps him viable the way he is and the way he's always been. So people don't have to relearn him. Because that's the big problem with Nurse and Spirit reworks is, like, Spirit, the reason why the Spirit rework was so successful is because they only nerfed her add-ons. to make her less oppressive, which is fine by me. And Billy could be the same treatment, because that way spirits don't have to relearn her. So people who mained her don't have to really relearn her. Like, you have to just get used to the new Vol animation, but that's it. Like, other than that, Spirit's still the same as she was. They just turned down her add-ons quite a bit. And now Billy be the same way. So Billy just don't have to relearn Billy and don't have to completely change their style and whole different killer. But it turns him down and nerfs him in the long run. But it still keeps those killer mains who main him and people who enjoy him for fun, still can enjoy him. And don't have to relearn him. And that would definitely be a better rework. And more of a suitable nerf to him. Just to help complaints, because add-ons are a big issue, and I do agree with the one guy who I'm arguing with. Like, I do agree add-ons are a big problem with Billy. I say add-ons are a big problem with a lot of killers, because some add-ons are just so fucking annoying and so powerful that I don't even know why they're in the game. And Iridescent Head is one of them. Now, Huntress. What I would do is nerf 2 add-ons. Iridescent Head, obviously, because Iridescent Head is so fucking OP, and it's just super annoying to play against. And, of course, Babushka and Braid. I think they should remove those add-ons entirely. Wind-up time should not be a thing on Huntress. Huntress is balanced with her wind-up time at base. Why I say that is because I don't run those add-ons and do completely fine. Those add-ons remove any counterplay a Survivor does have. And just makes her even stronger. When she shouldn't, because she's actually, I consider her one of the best killers in the game. Next to, Billy right now, because Billy's add-ons are very oppressive, and technically Spirit. Huntress, in my opinion, is the strongest kill in the game. Just because of her power. Her power has a lot of tools in her kit that she can be very oppressive and very strong. And I see that, especially at high-rank gameplay when I watch Umbra or Scott Jund and killers like that. Huntress is quite strong. Now, other killers, Myers I think is okay. Hag is okay. Other than, the only add-on I would nerf is Shackles. I think Shackles should actually, what it should do is, it still triggers a clone, but then it immediately disappears after. So if the Survivor doesn't pay attention, let's say the clone disappears shorter. So it basically makes it look like the trap is gone, but it actually isn't. The trap's gonna be teleported, but to the Survivor, they think the trap, stopped and, got rid of it. So Survivors may be fear of, oh, it's gone already. Whatever. And then the hack teleports. It's just a surprise thing. That I could see being a rework, where there's still counterplay to the item if the Survivor knows it, because and they're still notified they triggered a trap, but it could be a jump scare factor, and it could work. I could definitely be a reworked version of Shackles. And it definitely nerf that add-on a bit, because that's a very oppressive add-on. It's very annoying. Doctor. There's 2 add-ons I would nerf. Calm. Although the Calm add-ons I think are fine, but it's the effect that applies with your shocking, whatever. The Red Stain add-on. The Red Stain add-on or the Calm add-ons make killer fucking unbearable. I can't play Doctors. It's not because I hate him, and I find his power quite strong, and when used correctly, he's really powerful. But my problem with Doctor is that Red Stain add-on. People run Iridescent King too much, which is the other add-on I want nerfed. Iridescent King should just remove that add-on entirely, or just make it a rework version. What I think they should do with Iridescent King is, there's actually an add-on that should make it permanent with this, in my opinion. So how I would rework Iridescent King. Calm add-ons. Remove the frickin' terrorities that can hear a illusionary terrorities. That is so stupid. Because all you hear is a heartbeat, and it's super loud. So you get a fucking headache after, because you hear it so much, because of how Doctor plays, that you just get headaches from it. It actually gives me a headache, because I'm so sick of this add-on. Because it's so common. Normally I wouldn't care, but since I got this add-on so much with the old Doctor, and now the new Doctor does it too, it's just super annoying. It literally makes me have headaches, and it's just annoying. But, how I rework Iridescent King? Because this add-on is still oppressive. Okay, so how I would do this. This thing can still see illusionary palettes. But here's how I would do this. Here I would do Iridescent King. Keep the illusionary palettes, but there's an add-on that I like. I don't know exactly what the add-on is. Is it this one? No. Is it this one? No. This one, Restraint. This is the add-on I'm talking about. Restraint. This should add Restraint into the Iridescent King. So the Iridescent King will do 2 effects. Illusionary palettes and Restraint added in. What the Restraint does, which I think is the best add-on on Doctor and should be permanent, because this add-on makes Doctor so much more fun. It's my favorite add-on by far. What it does is, Restraint add-on reveals the Aura's aura at 2 seconds when their madness level increases. That should also be put at Iridescent King's effect. So it just completes Order effect. So what Order does, it adds into Iridescent King, and it puts Restraint into it. And it adds extra Terrarius. So it has Calm in there too. So it makes the Terrarius bigger. Because Doctors love bigger Terrarius. So it adds all the major add-ons that I think are really good on him into one. That's how I'd rework Iridescent King. Because they're not annoying either. Like, bigger Terrarius Doc actually helps Survivors, kinda. But also helps him. So it's an even trade-off. And Restraint is a really cool add-on. And I think it's not broken. And it's decent. What it does, it's not annoying, and it's really cool. I like this add-on. It definitely makes Doctor play differently, and it makes him way better of a killer. So it reveals Survivor's auras in 2 seconds when the madness level increases, which is just when they get shocked and they increase their level of madness, they get revealed for a couple seconds. So it's not too bad. Now, its other effect is Survivor's madness status effect occur from the affection. Monitor increases illusionary Doctor duration, so it makes the duration of which the Doctor illusions stay longer, and the Doctor can see the auras of it. So those Doctor illusions, in Tier 3 you can see them, but barely, like it doesn't show up much in Tier 3, Madness 3, but this add-on makes it permanent. So you can just see them all the time. It helps Doctor so much. Like, you don't understand how good tracking that is. And to me, that's a balance add-on. It makes something fun that I don't think is overpowered. It's fun but not overpowered. So to me, it's hardly noticeable. You may see it noticeable in a couple cases, but it's still not as noticeable as, because he already has a shock therapy. It was really good on the old Doctor, considering the old Doctor had to gradually make you go into madness. So this add-on just completely made Doctor even stronger at finding, because you didn't even have to use your madness. You could just walk around once they're just inflicted by it, it would see them, and you can just hunt them down without having to shock them. And they don't have to scream. So it's a really cool add-on. It was definitely good. But it's still good now. It's still useful. Because you can see where people working on gens, it can do a lot of things. And I think that should be Iridescent King. It should be a combination of the Order, Calm, and Restraint. But I would move Calm add-ons, we should remove the Red Stain entirely. Red Stain should not be a thing. Red Stain is a cool idea, but at the same time, it makes people annoyed by it. That's why it's a cool idea, and I definitely liked it when it first came out. Because I started playing when Doctor was released anyway. So like I find the add-on cool. But now as I started getting in the years, I just find the add-on either pointless. I find the add-on either pointless, or I just find the add-on just completely annoying, and it's just like, well, here we go again with the consistently heartbeat, and then I just get headaches from it. So, and I see why a lot of people get headaches from it too. Because it literally is a giant heartbeat that's super loud. So you just hear dum 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 dum, and it's just But yeah. See, these are all add-on reworks. I'm not even buffing base powers. There's only one killer I'm buffing their base power, and that's Leatherface. Clown, all add-ons are fine. I think Clown may be viable since his small buff But we'll see. We'll see if people start expanding him more. I need to test him out for a while. But Cannibal. There's only one buff I would do to Leatherface. Well, two buffs. One, make him like Billy's chainsaw, where his chainsaw doesn't have to hold. It's just you rev and go. When it gets to full, it goes. And you have no cooldown, so you can instantly swing to cancel. That way, in case a survivor tries to use a window against him or a locker, he can instantly pull someone out without having to worry about lockers. Because a big thing with Bubba is he literally can't win lockers, showdowns. Which is another reason why I think the cooldown Billy idea is stupid. Because Billy would suffer the same fate from Leatherface and make lockers their fucking nightmare. Because Leatherface can never win against lockers. Because even with Tantrum. Because if the survivor is smart, he waits until the tantrum's over and then jumps out, and the Leatherface can't do shit. And the same, and Billy can't even do that, because if Billy does it, they can get out for free, and because Billy can't have tantrum, there's no chance of him actually like out mind gaming the guy by running to the locker and tantruming. Billy doesn't have tantrum, so Billy would just get completely dominated by lockers with Leatherface when Leatherface already suffers from it. So that's why I think Billy in that cooldown idea makes no sense. Because it would also nerf his main power and make Billy completely pointless. And how you would, you know, fake your chainsaw and use some high skill mechanics that are like top tier, like these are like advanced tactics that you can pull, and it makes killer killer. It makes you go to your next level of gameplay. And that I don't like. And it makes him completely impossible to lockers. So that's why I think that idea. I think add-on nerfs is a good idea, but not nerfing him himself. I think his base power is fucking fine. I think Bubba should have the same chainsaw Billy does, kinda. Where Billy just... Leatherface trades off his chainsaw for a short duration, like... I think they should increase the movement speed in which it actually spreads. So, basically, I'm talking about making his beast marks permanent. That's what I was thinking. Because this add-on, believe it or not, is one of my favorite add-ons on Bubba. It makes Bubba somewhat viable. And it should be default. Like, the speed in which it does is default. I wouldn't even care if they actually made the slight charge time. Because the charge time wouldn't really matter in that scenario. This add-on would make Bubba so much better because with that extra speed, you don't have to worry about the survivors getting to a pallet. You don't get outran. Bubba actually gets outran by survivors. I'm not even joking. Like, his chainsaw sprint at the start of it gets outran by survivors. You have to be like, you have to literally go up their butt just to actually chainsaw someone. Like, it's how stupid. This add-on gives him some range in which he can actually hit. And it gives him some interesting curve spots. Which, in my opinion, is a cool idea, and I think they should make that permanent. That way, Bubba has more opportunities, and make him have the 99 trick, like Billy does, and he can cancel at any time when he unrevs, so that Leatherface can pull things like Billy can, like fake revving at a pallet, so when they think you're going to use your chainsaw, you can fake it, which is cool. And it stops Bubba from being weak at lockers. So lockers don't stop you much. It can juke a chainsaw if he already goes and then tantrums, but other than that, if he just unrevs, he can pull you out, and it would make Bubba so much more better. It would make Bubba have it would be some buffs that might make Bubba a bit different from, like, Billy and him are similar, but they trade off different things. Bubba trades off his map mobility to map defense, where his chainsaw is very good at when survivors group together. And they're all staying in one area with his insta down. While Billy prefers the survivors being spread out. Billy can capitalize on people together, but it's not as efficient as Bubba. Bubba can technically multi-shot the entire team if they're all together. Why Bubba's basement is such a staple build on him, and why Insidious is used on Bubba, because of his multi-hit ability. And it does come in handy. I've seen it come in handy quite often, especially against body blockers, because you can hit both of them if you have the speed add-ons. Which is another reason why I think the speed add-on should help. It will help that multi-shot ability be more effective. And it will make Bubba way better of a killer. And I think Bubba would be fine. They may have to nerf the charge add-ons a bit, like nerf Instasaw, which I think they should. already. I think the chainsaw add-ons that like make you have better rev time should not stack. They should not stack. By the way, this is also the thing with Billy as well. I think those add-ons should get nerfed and they should not stack. That way you can't stack add-ons. Because cooldown and speed add-ons when stacked are just insane. Have you ever seen Billy with double cooldown add-on? It's insane. And so is double rev time. Like, Insta-Saw is just so stupid of a combo that I want it gone. I want it gone. Like, I get add-ons that, like, contradict each other. Like add-ons like Tuning Guide and the Beast Marks and the Doom engravings, where because Beast Marks and Doom engravings make the chainsaw charge time longer. So it actually takes longer to rev it up. But the add-ons, the charge add-ons can make that, cancel that notifiability and make it go faster. Basically. That way it's a bit more balanced, you know? But I would do is the compensate for Bubba having that permanently, I would nerf those add-ons. Like, nerf the speed add-ons. So you can't, like, have super speed Bubba or just remove them. I think they should just remove them. Because, to be honest, Billy should have the speed add-ons for movement speed, while Bubba should have the acceleration. Because acceleration is what's unique about Bubba. Bubba has acceleration to his top speed. That's something, it's a car term, which is the only thing that Bubba really has. And to be honest, to me, that's balanced, because Billy should be separate from Bubba. So Billy has the speed add-ons to increase his chainsaw movement speed, while Bubba has acceleration, where his chainsaw gets the top speed faster. That'd be two differences. Then I think Bubba will be fine. Bubba will be completely fine. I think Bubba will become a mid-tier killer, maybe even A-tier, by just those smite buffs. They might be not much to you, do you think? You think they wouldn't be that much, right? Extra speed, so he's faster when he's actually chainsaw sprinting, so he's not being outran by Savaris when he starts his sprint, which is fucking stupid in my opinion. And he's able to, like, be like Billy. You may not think that might not be much of buffs, but trust me, that will come in the long road. That's extremely good. Because against, with good Bubbas, people who are good killers already, that can add so much more possibilities to Bubba that you wouldn't even believe. There's so many cool mechanics and situations Bubba would be excelling in. And it would just make Bubba so much more viable. And you honestly have to see that. Like, to be honest, that's the only way Bubba might only become viable again. Because Bubba was viable when he first released, because no one really knew how to counter him. But since people learned how to counter him, he's not hard to play against. Just like Billy. I think Billy and Bubba both suffer from the same problem. Is their window in which their chainsaw can activate. If you put yourself between pallets and windows and avoid giant dead zones, Bubba and Billy are pretty easy to loop and deal with. Because they become basically M1 killers if you force them to M1. Which Billies do M1. So, it's just high-ranked Billies have some advanced mechanics that both killers can pull to try to get chainsaws. And that's the entire PvP aspect. And that should never change for both sides. But my main problem are the add-ons that make PvP almost unbalanced. That's where add-ons become overpowered, or some add-ons are just required on killers just to play the game. Like, Bubba kind of requires the speed add-ons that make his chainsaw faster. Those, like, to make his movement speed faster. Those add-ons are kind of needed. What do you think why people run Play With Your Food Nemesis? And why that's such a viable build? It increases his base movement speed in both chainsaw form and in his normal form, which gives Bubba a whole more opportunities at chainsawing than other killers would. But you have to run a 2-perk combo to do it, and that's not how the game should be. You shouldn't need 2-perk combos to suffer a weakness the killer has had since the game's release, like, since Bubba's been out. Like, they need to do something. No, I'm not saying Bubba is super, but I'm just saying that's something that they need to work on. And then I would probably nerf Play With Your Food. Just so that Play With Your Food can't be too strong. Because that would severely buff the Play With Your Food combo, and that may become obnoxious annoying. So they may have to, like, do restrictions on that, but like how much speed, like maybe they should do is make play with your food not affected by your chainsaw speed. So like your movement speed in which you chainsaw aren't being affected by play with your food, or like haste increasers, they increase your movement speed. They shouldn't be affected by haste. So it's just at a default speed, basically. It can't be increased unless you run add-ons, but since Bubba won't have those add-ons anymore, because the way I want him reworked, yeah. Problem solved. The Nemesis play with your food just increases his chainsaw walk speed when he's holding it out, and his movement speed when he's trying to chase people down. That's the only thing it would increase. It wouldn't chase the actual sprinting speed in which he goes. You see what I mean? Like, I'm trying to make balance for builds and shit. And you're probably wondering, so you have, like, and you're probably amazed on the fact that I thought that through. Well, that's the thing. I give devs credit. I will give the devs credit when they think things through, and why. This is why I think the pig nerf that pig received was valid. They wanted to avoid a catastrophe before it happened. This is why I think the pig nerfs weren't that big of a deal. Making her traps not work on endgame. Yeah, because it kind of made her not overpowered. You see, if Pig was in endgame collapse, she'd be the most overpowered killer and probably the most played killer, to the point where she'd be nerfed to the ground, and they didn't want that. So they answered the solution before it happened. They just made her traps just not work during endgame collapse, and made her traps basically what they did with her traps is they just make it so that you have to pop a gen. If you put it on when the exit gates are open, it doesn't trigger it. That way she can't hold the game hostage, because that's the problem. If endgame collapse start and she had traps on people's heads and they're trying to get it off, there's a big chance of the survivors not getting it off and they just die to endgame. And with Blood Warden also being in the game, that can severely screw an entire team over instantly and get easy 4-mans what endgame collapses compared to how Blood Warden is used already. So basically it makes Pig less oppressive in making her. It nerfed her a tiny bit, so it's not a big deal, but it more relies on her using her traps in your mid game, which is kind of what you're supposed to do with her traps anyway. So to me, it's just more of a hotfix of a mechanic they have in the game, which is perfectly fine. I think that was a valid change, and I give the devs credit for it because they thought that through. They thought that I can't English. They thought that through before it happened. And that was good on the devs' part. I will give them credit. They thought that through before it happened. And I honestly agree with the devs. Because Pig would be oppressive and overpowered if they didn't do that. I know it nerfed Pig a bit, and she's already weak as a killer as it is. But you're going to have to if she's not going to become oppressive. They can buff Pig in other areas. So if Pig starts getting too down in the meta, Pig could get buffed. And instead of buffing her traps, they can nerf her dash or her crouching ability, which is perfectly valid, in my opinion. But I think she's in a good spot right now. But you get the point. Like, she's valid. Those nerfs were valid. It's not what people wanted, but it's valid. And it's something that I agree with the devs. You sometimes have to nerf mechanics in the game when you release new mechanics, and nerf certain cards because of it, and it's fine. It happens in all games, and it will have to happen at some point. Yeah, honestly, some of the fan art that I see for killer skins and stuff, I love them. I won't lie with you there, buddy. By the way, if you want to counter this tile, just do this. One of my favorite spots. It's out of the way, so they're not going to check that. But it's close enough that you can kind of like... This is not a bad map for Trapper, actually. Especially since they just started here, so like I can put traps like right here. Considering there's no one going to be around. Which means I can set traps like that. Oh, so if you want to counter this window's perfect spot, by the way. If you want to counter that window, that is. Now, what you do is, in case they start figuring out that you put around loots, put on dark own pallets. You can kind of do that. Like, you can kind of, like, mix and match your traps. It's great. Switch out your trap placements and you'll win half your games. Because they'll suspect one trap style and then they won't suspect the other. And you can kind of rotate. Okay, Meg. I guess you're going down first. I guess that's what survivors do. I'll put them over here. I know it's away from all my traps, but I can go grab these traps over here and start setting them up. So, to me, that's a worth down. Because they're pushed to the traps in the middle area, but I can go grab my traps over here and start, like, setting a couple of web near this main building, which is fine by me. This is right here, so putting a trap right here isn't a bad idea. And now we'll head to the main building. He thinks I went around, so hopefully he, like... Yeah, he ran. I want you. Because you're most likely going to step in one of these traps over here, so... Nope. Like I said, he was going to step in one of these traps somehow. Some way or another, he's going to step in it. Now we'll bring you closer to the web of my trap zones. And that's the key with Trapper, really. Push them into your traps. Like, push them into your zones of death. And you'll win a lot of your matches. Now, this is the only pallet in this building, really, so... Best way to counter this map is... He's gonna go for the pallet, and it's trapped. See, I'm smart. He's gonna dead hard over it. But now where he's gonna go. You're so predictable. Oh my god, dude, you're so predictable with that move. He's in my web right now. And that's really good. See, he had to dead hard over it, and it was predictable. It's a predictable move by that guy. He hides right here. But I got the hit because I'm smart. And did a mind game to hide my red stain so he can't use the corner trick. Because they usually rely on the red stain. The most. Oh. You kind of slow vaulted that, so it was a stupid move on your part. Now let's force them back over here and go guard these gens. I'm not really guarding gens, which is a bad idea. I should be more defending, but and keeping my web up and running, like pushing them near my web. But I'd rather not. Hi, buddy. Like I said, I built a web over here. Your friends are in a bad spot. Because they're all in web territory. They're in my web right now. Every one of them are in my web. near these gens, which is kind of the point in my build. You know, like, I want to have them in my webs. No, what I'm gonna do... Ryan, you gonna waste a... Okay. Waste the god pallet. Fine by me. Head to the main building. Yes, I definitely don't have this trapped. Yes, head to this building. I definitely don't have it trapped. I love mind games, dude. They always fall for the same mind games. I say the best for last. Thank you. Get hard over it. Well, I'll break that pallet in there in a minute. I can just grab the trap. See? What are you talking about with Trapper's web? This is a web of death. That's the point. This is the point of this build. The point of Trapper. Hi. I believe you're dead now, right? What if you disarm my trap right there? Oh no, they got caught on it. I see. See, Surge is getting value because Trapper with save is really good. No. Just in case they wanted to use this infinite. This is another good window. I'll let him recover. Get some more traps placed and... They may add it over here later. Means I need to put a trap right here. Or on the loop. It's where they would probably get off the gen if they went off the gen. I pushed them all off the area, so like... And I have 8 stacks, so like... I basically can quick hit people pretty easily. I want her. I don't want to... Because she's not dead on hook yet. But I still want to get her down. Because I can gain my stacks pretty quickly. And there's still people left in the match. But it's nice that I'm getting downs. Okay, she's heading away from my web, and I don't want to do that, so... Okay, they're designing my traps. That's fine. Means they're over there, which means I need to go back. But I'm still gonna go down this person, because he wants to sit here. Hi. Hi, buddy. Welcome to my web. I thought she was sabbing it. There's really no hooks over here. Let me just cook this. Reset. No, let's pick it up. I don't want to reset in the same spot. What I need to do is go set this strap over here. Now, since this pallet is the only... Near that gen, they'll want to use that, and then they'll get caught in that. Planning ahead. You see, I'm a mastermind. That's why I love Trapper so much. Because you get to actually, you know, outplay the survivors by outthinking. By thinking ahead. And I like that. I like that playstyle. as well. Like, being an aggressive playstyle, like building, I like that. But Trapper also allows me to be a mastermind. You know, I outthink survivors and... Well, you're not dead on hook, are you? No. That's kick with Surge. That means that there's someone on that gen, I think. I could be wrong. I think there's someone on that gen. We're about to find out. Because that would be touched. Nope. I'll leave. I'm at a camping killer. I want to stay near my perimeter, you know? Because that's what you do as Trapper. You don't leave your perimeter. Like, once you have a perimeter set up with traps, you stay around so you push them into it. They were here. They probably went either to the left side and went past me, or they went this way. Which I'm assuming by how I would go this way so I can hide in the lockers over here. For anti-barbecue. And exactly my point. Didn't I say that you would run this way for barbecue? Hi, buddy. You're running to nowhere. Go for the safe. Go ahead. This pallet over here, this window and pallet is trapped. Where are you going? Oh. Yep. You didn't make it in time. Rip. Rip you, dude. This is why you don't need to hide with barbecue. Was that hatch that I heard? No. Yeah, I'll be nice. I'll give the man the hatch. I'm a nice killer after all. I don't play the game to play tryhard, you know? This is your gen. Alright. Let's check over here. Yeah, I would soon to be over here. There you go. Oh, you want the lantern. Go ahead. Go ahead. Did you?